Alright, so it looks like his opponent's going first. You know, don't know what deck he's on. Okay, so yeah, so his opponent just draws 6 and passes. So here, Tyler summons Sangin and attacks for 1,000, and I'm gonna say why I don't like that play. So obviously, like, you know, summoning Sangin, attacking for 1,000, it's pretty low commitment. Like, you do get to do 1,000 damage, which does count for something. Life points do matter, but since you open double Merchant and our hand is like 4 monsters, 2 spells, I kind of want to set the Magical Merchant. And by setting the Merchant, you accomplish 2 things. One, you might bait out like a Nobleman, a Crossout, and if you do, that's good, because then you don't have to banish your other Merchant because it's in your hand. And then your opponent, like if they're playing a Goat control deck with 2 Merchant, which is pretty common, they might have to banish like 1 or 2 Merchants themselves. So it's like a favorable exchange if they cross out. And then also, like, say they like attack into it and the Merchant activates, the fact that it's gonna add a spell or trap to your hand and kind of like even out your ratios is kind of nice as well. So, you know, I'd really like to see a set Merchant here. Plus, also, like, there's not really any specific card that we like really want to get with Sangin. So yeah, I would do that. And he sets Goats, which, I mean, as played, I'd probably just set Goats here too. In case our opponent like goes Breaker or something like that. Alright, so our opponent's summoning Azura and attacking. And yeah, I mean, we're just gonna search Sinister here. We don't have a lot to do with it yet, but there's not really a better pick. But had we set Merchant, I think this would have worked out better. And yeah, our opponent dust shoots us. Problem with doing that is that we really don't want to get our Angel Saku'd. So yeah, now we're just kind of like forced to set Merchant. And this is fine for us. You know, our opponent, he has to use his Faith to, you know, Thousand Eyes restrict our guy. So, I mean, we can presumably just kind of sit here and do nothing for a while. Oh, I also forgot to mention, last turn I would have considered setting the MST. Not saying you have to, but I would have considered it. And here, yeah, I just set Saku pass is good. If our opponent Tsukiyomis, we get to Saku. Otherwise, we just kind of do nothing. Or if our opponent has Air Knight, we get to Saku. So yeah, setting the Saku is pretty obvious. We don't really want to set another monster because it doesn't really accomplish much, so that was good. And yeah, let's just go ahead and set Torrential here too. Now if our opponent summons like Tsukiyomi, we can just, you know, clear the board. And yeah, I would not cross out here. Like, you have Torrential set. This is not a good cross out. Like, our opponent, if they Tsukiyomi, we just get to Torrential and clear the board for free. The only thing we'd be scared of is if, like, our opponent tributes, like, Thousand Eyes for Jinzo or something. But that would be, like, not very likely, just given the format. So yeah, like, you don't just have to use cross out, like, as soon as it's live. Here, there's just no reason to use cross out. And, you know, we didn't even hit a good card with it. So, yeah. That was not very good. So, yeah, it's a lot less likely that we'll be able to get value out of our Torrential now. But presumably you're just going to be drawing and passing for a while. Is the play... Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking of metaing here, I wouldn't do that either. And... yeah, I just wouldn't set Merchant. We have Torrential set. There's no reason to do this. We can just sit here and do nothing. Yeah, like, with Torrential, you should really be looking to get more value out of this card. See, like, now we had so many great opportunities to get a +1 with this Torrential, and we just didn't take them. And now we just have to Torrential as a 2-for-2. I mean, it puts, like, a Light in our grave on the plus side. Well, no, we would have gotten a Light in our grave anyway. So yeah, there's just no reason to really do that. So now we have the debate of like which monster we play this turn. Our opponent hasn't used any crossouts. So right now we have like the Tsukiyomi, and we've got like 2 aggressive monsters. So I would consider playing one of the aggressive monsters. Like I would actually just, I mean, we have a lot of options actually here. We can set Dakochi, we can summon Angel, we can set Angel. You know, we can summon or set Skilled Dark. We really have like 5 different options here as far as like how we play our monster. And like when you're in this kind of situation, like what you want to do is think about, okay, I have 5 options. What are the pros and cons of each? Obviously, like Dakochi is gonna be the best if our opponent just like doesn't really have much, right? But at this stage of the game, it's pretty unlikely that they just don't have a way to deal with the Dakochi, right? Because they've used no crossouts. They could play another meta. So I don't really want to commit the Dakochi here. We can summon Angel and attack for 14. But there we could get Saku'd. So I actually kind of like just setting Angel. Because there's a chance that our opponent will attack. And then if they attack, we can just Tsukiyomi loop. And if they cross out the Angel, like, that's kind of fine too. So I would like probably just like set Angel, set MST just in case our opponent tries to like premature the Faith or something like that. So that's personally what I would do. Summoning Angel is okay too. I just don't really want to get Saku'd here. Obviously, like, it worked out because our opponent just took the 14. But, you know, we run 3 books, so I usually like to wait until we draw into a book before I make this kind of play. But, I mean, on the plus side, we did deal some damage. And this is fine, too. If our opponent just cross-outs the Angel, like, we're totally fine with that. Yeah, we're just like, okay, go for it, buddy. And if our opponent attacks, I want to just Saku here. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious. Because Tsukiyomi is definitely, like, one of the better cards in these control mirrors. So now that our opponent's used a crossout, now I'm going to want to set Dakochi. I think this is a pretty obvious set Dakochi here, yeah. And I would still be setting, like, MST here, too, to be honest. I mean, who knows? Maybe our opponent's waiting for, like, some big play to, like, flip up Heavy Storm. It's possible. But people don't, like, set Heavy Storm as much as you probably think. Okay, so luckily for us, our opponent's just passing. And then now we have the debate of, like, whether we duo now or not. Our opponent has 6 cards in hand. He's fairly likely to have seen Sinister. I personally would not duo yet. If you were to duo, I'd want to do it before we flip the Dakochi so that we give our opponent less info when the duo resolves. I'm also not sure how I feel about summoning Tsukiyomi. If you're summoning Tsukiyomi, then I probably would not attack with it. So yeah, I would attack with the Dakochi first, get in for 14, summon Tsukiyomi main phase 2, and then not like have to worry about this, you know, torrential or whatever. And yeah, I mean, duo is okay. I would probably just wait for a better spot to do it. The problem is the 6 cards. Our opponent is reasonably likely to have Sinister, and even if they don't, like, they have a lot of choices as far as what to discard. So this is not really going to be like a high value duo. I would try to like start simplifying the game first and then duo after. And then yeah, I agree with not setting a card. You know, play around Heavy Storm. We've got Ring to protect ourselves from any attack if, you know, we need to do something like that. Yeah, I made like a few minor mistakes, which if I think we didn't do, I think we'd be in a better position, but we're reasonably ahead right now. And I would Goats here rather than use our Ring. Yeah, see, I don't like this because with Goats, realize we have meta in our hand, right? So if we just Goats to block the Reaper, meta take Reaper, and then just start attacking for 3, it's nice because, like, even if our opponent books the Thousand Eyes, like, the Reaper still dies. So I would just be looking for a good opportunity to use Goats. Like, gotta realize, Scapegoat isn't, like, very good in our deck, so you want to look for a good opportunity to use it like this in order to save your actual power card, you know, which is Ring in this case. I mean, this play is good if we just think that we're way ahead and can just pressure our opponent. Because obviously attacking for 19 is stronger than attacking for 3. But in general, I'd rather just meta, take the Reaper, start poking for 3. And then, like, if we hadn't duoed, our opponent would probably, like, tribe it, and then we could, like, attack over it, Skilled Dark. I don't know why we're MSTing here. Yeah, there's no reason to MST there. That card was set forever. We knew it wasn't anything good. Again, you gotta think about, like, pros and cons. Gotta think about, okay, what do I know? We know this card's been set forever. We know it hasn't been used forever. It could even be, like, a Scapegoat or something. You're actually pretty lucky that your opponent just, like, didn't chain goats there. But in that case, it was just this book that was kind of doing nothing. But see, what's so sick is that, like, if we'd meta'd taken the Reaper, our opponent wouldn't have been able to use book. I mean, he could have, but it wouldn't have been very good. Yeah, I don't know. This is... If we'd done some of these better plays, I think we'd be, like, way, way ahead here. Whereas now we're just kind of, like, slightly ahead. And yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, we chain goats here. Yeah, and then now we're just going to keep a meta, regardless of what our opponent discards. I mean, at least our opponent's only at 24. And then what does he get back? Jinzo, I guess? Could get back Tribe. Alright, so here we're just gonna set Sinister in meta. That way we, like, save a goat. Yeah, see, you don't want to do this. Realize that the Sinister is, like, a free meta, right? You're basically just killing one of your goat tokens for no reason. Yeah, so... I mean, we can set Sinister here to, like, block a hit. Like, might as well. Our opponent's already used one cross out. So yeah, I would... Yeah, I mean, you didn't even set Sinister. So basically, we had, like, 2 different ways that we could have used Sinister this turn, and we didn't use either of them. So now, like, we're going to have one less goat token, and we're going to take damage faster, which is obviously not where we want to be. And yeah, I don't know what kind of weird deck our opponent's playing. But yeah, this is kind of a problematic spot to be in. Not that having one extra goat would necessarily make the difference between winning and losing, but it probably at least, like, buys us, like, an extra turn or something. Okay, and our opponent's just tributing for Thunder Dragon. You know, we know what that card is. Yeah, now we have to worry about this Faith. So yeah, I mean, we kind of have to summon Angel. Why are we setting Angel here? Oh, right, the set monster's a Thunder Dragon. Yeah. I mean, there's other things we could do. We could... I mean, if we had more life points, we could consider, like, ramming Angel 3 times and getting Warrior Lady and attacking. I mean, we could... Yeah, I mean, this is probably better because we know our opponent has a Faith. So next turn he's going to attack our Angel. We just get more Angels, then we have the Angel attack Faith. And yeah, our opponent is gonna attack, and then we have a third Angel left in the deck, right? So yeah, here we'll just get the third Angel. Yeah, this is a mistake. Because realize this does a few things. One, if we draw our third Angel, it's probably gonna be dead now, which we don't want. Realize that every turn there's like a 5% chance we draw into a dead Angel now. Which, if this game goes long, is going to matter. So, and it's not like there's really anything that we need to Warrior Lady. We can easily just get a 3rd Angel, attack the set Faith with our Angel, and then not use our Warrior Lady yet. So now we have a question of how do we use this meta. Yeah, man, I think we just have to meta Sinister. Well, before that, we should switch Warrior Lady to defense. But switch Warrior Lady to defense, meta Sinister, take Jinzo, attack Thunder Dragon, say go. That puts us in a pretty good spot. Okay, well, it's good he put DD Warrior Lady in defense. Some people would forget to do that. And our opponent will take 8 off this hit, which is kind of nice. You know, they'll presumably be dead pretty soon. On our Thousand Eyes, like flip up Faith, get back Pot Agreed, we're like all of a sudden like back to like an even game almost. Like now our opponent's activating Graceful, so like this is exactly what I'm talking about. If we had attacked the Faith like 2 turns ago, we would be threatening lethal, and our opponent wouldn't be like, you know, about to +1, you know, twice. And the fact that our opponent discarded Breaker is bad news for us. I say that because it indicates our opponent has a really strong hand. Yeah, so now our opponent's just going to banish our Thousand Eyes, flip Faith, get back Graceful, and, I mean, or get back Meta, I guess. I mean, either way, like, this Faith is just, like, way better than it, you know, would be otherwise. And it's like, now what do we do, right? We're just kind of sitting here doing nothing. Yeah, this is just miserable. Like, if we just hadn't done nothing like the last 5 turns, we would probably have like already won. I mean, at least we drew our own Chaos Sorcerer. So now, this is probably just game, right? So let's see, if we go heavy, our opponent's got nothing. And then we go, yeah, so if we just go Heavy Storm, summon Chaos Sorcerer, banish Thousand Eyes, flip up Magician of Faith, get back Metamorphosis, and then Metamorphosis take our opponent's Chaos Sorcerer, then it's game. Okay, so now we just missed a game shot. So basically we've had like 7 different opportunities to win, and we just haven't taken any of them. Realize that, like, even though it's, like, when you're playing GOAT format, and your opponent's at low life, you should just mentally every turn check, okay, do I have game? Do I have game? Do I have game? And, like, if you think it's likely that you do, then you just go for game, right? So, because, like, if we heavy, our opponent could book, yeah, our opponent could book his Chaos Sorcerer in response. But even then, our opponent's already used 2 books, so he'd have to have a 3rd book, which most people don't play. Yeah, I mean, this game should already be over. And I mean, ironically enough, we can still attack our opponent for game. Well, no, because he's gonna take Chaos Sorcerer. So yeah, so now we can't attack for game. And yeah, that scares me, because this tells me our opponent's probably about to do something good. Yeah, so now he's just gonna like start banishing things, and now we're just starting to lose control of this game. And I think now we're just, I mean, maybe not dead, but now our opponent can at least like ring us for a draw. Yeah, now our opponent rings us for a draw. So yeah, I mean, we basically punted this game. We made a lot of mistakes. Some minor ones in the beginning, and then just not taking a game shot when we had it. And you're not supposed to RPS again. So in GOAT format, when you draw, the person who goes first in the last game gets to go first again. So I think we, like, are going first here when really we're supposed to be going second. See, I just set Nikochi, set Saku. Yeah. I mean, worst thing can happen is our opponent goes, like, Breaker. But no reason not to take the chance. And our opponent, like, sided in Mind Control, even though it's not good against our deck. But, you know, that's how it goes. So now we're kind of in an interesting spot. Personally, I would just Nobleman and attack and just start putting pressure on our opponent. I don't know, we could Graceful. Yeah, I would actually just Graceful here. So our opponent just set Faith with Mind Control and Grave. The nice thing about doing Graceful Noble is if we draw a Faith off the Graceful, then we don't have to banish it to Noble. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for not Gracefuling here, because I was considering the same thing. But the thing is the reason why I like Graceful is we have a couple of, like, all 3 cards in our hand we don't really need right now. And if we draw another monster off Graceful, we can put more pressure on our opponent, which I kind of like to do. Oh, we drew Tsukiyomi. That's pretty lucky. But obviously, we could have drawn, you know, Tsukiyomi off Graceful last turn and then just played it last turn. And yeah, I mean, I would just attack here and just hope we don't get mirror forced. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, we don't really have a great reason. Well, we could set goats here. I would actually set goats. That way we have the option to, like, you know, goats when our opponent attacks then meta. There's not really much of a downside to setting goats, and there's definitely a potential upside. So again, like, you need to be actively thinking about, like, okay, what are my options this turn? What are the pros and cons, right? So if you think, okay, what are the pros and cons of setting goats, there's aren't really any cons to doing it. So you just conclude, okay, I need to set goats. And obviously we Saku, which is pretty nice for us. It's pretty juicy 2-for-1. So yeah, I mean, we know our opponent's set isn't real, so we can just draw a card, attack for 25. Yeah, so we're way ahead now. So yeah, here I would, yeah, set goats and just set Mirror Force too. Yeah. I mean, the goats should have been set like 2 turns ago, but you know, better late than never. And yeah, just keep the loop going. All right, and our opponent just concedes. Yeah, I mean, there we played okay. But like we just drew way better than our opponent, so it was pretty lopsided. Would have been interesting to see what would have happened if you'd gone second like you were supposed to. Alright, so our opponent goes first and has Thunder Dragon. Luckily for us, like, that card isn't very good in his deck, so we don't really care. And we don't really mind this Dust Shoot either. Because, like, we have, I mean, our hand's good, so... Like, people don't realize, like, Dust Shoot is actually, like, a low-key, like, bad card against our deck. Because, like, our monster lineup is just so solid that, like, half the time when we just get Dust Shooted, we just don't really care. Like, okay, man, like, nice Dust Shoot. I don't know about this. See, the problem here is... Oh, man, this is awkward. The problem here is if we do this, then I want to set Mirror Force to protect our Breaker from Tsukiyomi. But then if we do that, we just get absolutely screwed by Snatch. But at the same time, summoning Breaker does, like, put a Dark in our grave if our opponent has a way to deal with it. So this is another, like, pros and cons thing, right? So our opponent went first, didn't commit a monster to the field, and just Dust Shooted us and said go. I would consider just passing back. Because the problem is like... I don't know. I don't feel too good about this Breaker. I feel like if we lose this game, it's very likely to be because we summoned Breaker. I think this is like a negative EV play. Like, yeah, if our opponent just has, like, absolute jack shit, then, like, this Breaker's pretty good. The problem, too, is that we know that from last game, our opponent sided in Mind Control. And if we set Mirror Force, our opponent can Mind Control our Breaker and pop the Mirror Force. So, given that, like... Oh, man. Yeah, it just sucks, because if we summon Breaker, I feel like we really can't set Mirror Force because it's too risky. And then we could just get screwed by Tsukiyomi, which our opponent is reasonably likely to have because he didn't have a monster to commit turn 1. So we know that of the 4 cards that aren't Thunder Dragons, none of them are probably, like, sort of random, like, good set monsters, like, I don't know, Spirit Reaper or something. To me, I think the best play overall is to just set Mirror Force and pass, personally. Because there's just not a lot that can go wrong there. Like, our opponent has to play around it possibly being a set heavy. And if our opponent attacks with something like a Spirit Reaper, we get to Mirror Force it. If our opponent does nothing, we can just draw pass for a while. So, personally, I would just set Mirror Force and pass. This play could work out, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. Oh, wow, that's pretty brutal. And the problem here is, like, I would actually just discard BLS. I know people are going to, like, give me shit for this, but the nice thing about discarding BLS here is it puts a light in our grave, and then if Breaker dies, then we have a light and a dark, and then we know that any sorcerers we draw are live. BLS won't be live for a while, and I feel like we just really want to keep the Mirror Force and the Cross out. Yeah, I don't like this because now we're just gonna do nothing for a while. Here I'd actually set Mirror Force and not Saku because it's the one that our opponent knows about. Because if we Saku something, our opponent can play around Mirror Force for the rest of the game, but if we Mirror Force something, our opponent's not gonna play around Saku. So yeah, setting Saku here is a mistake. And if our opponent sits a monster this turn, we're kind of in an awkward spot, so hopefully... Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if this BLS was a cross out, I would feel so much better about our position. And I wouldn't duo here. Our opponent has 2 Thunder Dragons in his hand. What are we doing? I mean, I guess it could be good if... Yeah, like... Yeah, this duo is just actively bad. And now I feel like we almost kind of have to Mirror Force because our opponent knows about it. I just Mirror Force. Yeah, I hate it. But we just kind of have to because the alternative is we just take like 16 for a while. But yeah, if this BLS was a crossout, man, I would feel better about our odds. I mean, I guess our opponent just... Maybe our opponent's deck just doesn't set a lot of monsters. I would actually just set this meta. Just to bait like Dust Tornado or something. Yeah, so if we'd kept cross out, we would just cross out here, but instead we're just doing nothing. So we'll hope our opponent's set monster isn't that good. Well, darn, this is gonna suck for our opponent that has faith. Well, geez, this isn't looking too good for us. Huh, I wonder what our opponent's set monster is. Alright, well luckily we drew a light. So I hope we're summoning Angel and attacking. Yeah, we're actually in a pretty decent spot here. That's kind of annoying. Realize that at some point, if we want to, we have the option to meta our Angel to put a light in our grave. But yeah, hopefully our opponent doesn't cross out our Angel. That would suck. Oh, you're just doing it now? Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Man. Yeah, it's kind of risky. Yeah, I don't know if I would have gone for that, like, just right away. Because the problem is, like, I kind of want to wait a while until my opponent, like, actually makes me use my BLS, like, when we're that far behind here. But, yeah, if, and I guess our opponent doesn't know how priority works. Okay, well, neither of these people know how priority works, apparently. Yeah, okay, Tyler understands how priority works. The other guy doesn't. I always saw plus side we do have a light and a dark in our grave in case we just top deck a Chaos Sorcerer. Well, that's pretty rough because our opponent has Jinzo. I guess we need like a Snatch Steal. Yeah. I mean, in this case, our opponent just drew like really well, and I don't think that there was really any way that we could have won this game no matter how we played it out. But I would have discarded the BLS to the duo. Like, people just don't discard BLS enough. Like, having the most powerful card in the game doesn't matter if you never get a good chance to use it. Alright, so we're gonna Pot of Greed here. So here, let's see. I like setting Angel because the DD Warrior Lady's in our hand, so I like setting Angel to bait Cross out. Okay, so yeah, he did the play. Like, whether you set like the Faith or Not turn 1, it kind of depends on what your hand is. But given this, I like setting Angel. We can also just have our Angel die in battle and then just search level 1 and meta it. Okay, so here what we should do is our opponent's attacking. We should let him kill at least one Angel. Yeah, I don't agree with this because we want to thin our deck. So I would let him just kill one Angel. Unless we're trying to bait Cross out. I don't know. Either it's very slight. This is like a 1% kind of thing. Where it matters a little, but it doesn't matter very much. But I like just letting our opponent thin our deck for free. Get the second Angel. That way the second Angel can search the third, or the second Angel can search a level 1. And then obviously when he goes to attack the second Angel, then you Saku it. So yeah, I feel like we can be pretty confident our opponent doesn't have Cross out, because if he did, he would have just used it last turn. So now I would set the Faith. Probably just set Heavy, because I don't think we're not going to get value out of Torrential anytime soon. Okay, that was a good play. I wasn't sure if Tyler would know to do that, but it looks like he did. Did our opponent just summon Sangan and not attack? Yeah, that's a pretty big mistake. Like, a big mistake for our opponent. So yeah, we're like just super ahead here. Yeah, I have Pot of Greed, see what we draw. Yeah, we should definitely flip Heavy here to play around the Torrential. The fact that our opponent summoned Sangan and didn't attack, to me, is kind of a tell that he has Torrential. So this is like super easy flip Heavy. Because, you see, I don't like this. Here we lose to like Torrential, we lose to Mirror Force, and we don't Tsukiyomi our Faith. I mean, it happened to work out because our opponent just has nothing apparently. But I would flip Heavy, and then I would Tsukiyomi the Faith, and then I would attack for 15. It just sort of, you know, turns the screw more, so to speak. Our opponent also subtracted. Okay, now he's back to the normal amount. Like, you don't have to wait until your set Heavy gets a +1. There's really no requirement that you do that. I mean, here it looks like our Heavy probably will get a +1, unless our opponent just flips Dust Shoot or something. Okay, and yeah, we're just like super ahead now. Yeah, even though like if we'd Heavied last turn, our opponent would have chained Goats, I wouldn't have really cared, because we could have attacked a couple of them. We could even not attack the Sangan and just attack 2 Goats instead. So then it's like questionable, what do we do now? Yeah, I mean, I would just Tsukiyomi the Faith, get back Pot of Greed, and just see what... Yeah, generally you wanna Pot of Greed first, because now we have to banish our second Faith, whereas if we Pot of Greed, then we might draw into the Faith and not have to banish it. Plus, like, depending on what our Pot of Greed draws are, maybe we decide there's a reason that we don't want to Cross out. We might have game here, though, depending on what we get off this pot agreed. Well, no, we don't have any lights or darks. Well, actually, we could double meta to put a light and a dark in our grave. This is kind of interesting. Okay, and although our opponent just conceded, why are you going to battle phase here? You should flip up faith before battle phase. That way you get to pot agreed first. You get to attack 3 goats instead of 2. And I'm trying to think if it's just guaranteed game, actually. Let's look at this, because if we double meta, we meta the Angel to put a light in our grave, get Darkfire. We meta again, get a second Darkfire. We have 3 monsters. We summon BLS, that's 5 attackers, because BLS has 2 attacks. So yeah, I guess it's not guaranteed game. But depending on what we draw off pot agreed, it could have been. Because if pot draws us into Graceful, and then Graceful like draws us into like a Chaos Monster, then it would be game. So yeah, I mean this is kind of another lopsided one, but I think he still kind of like made some mistakes here. I mean this play is kind of weird in particular. You have the option to pot agreed first and you don't, and then you have the option to attack 3 goats instead of 2 and you don't. So yeah, like in conclusion, I just think like, given that you're a new player, you know, you probably maybe like don't know about a lot of these plays. I would just like think more, take more time to think about your plays. You know, despite myths to the contrary, it's better to overthink your plays than it is to underthink them. And it seems to me like you're just playing a lot of cards and not really considering all of your options and the consequences of like what your actions are. So yeah, that is it. All right.